that lap from Hamilton. Take that.
120.1 as the track temperature continues to rise, which is really helping those that were struggling to switch on the tyres a little bit in the cold, damp conditions that will revel in the sunshine of this Sunday afternoon. And there goes Pastor Maldonado without a Monaco finish since 2011.
Yeah, once that kinetic motor stops hauling the car up, and they've got the Mercedes unit, and it's an incredibly good system. You can't feel the difference between the hydraulic aspect and the electrical aspect, but once that packs up, the rear brakes, as Tev was pointing out, are going to be gone in 2 laps maximum.
I would say it makes you wonder why he bothers coming here, but he lives here, Maldonado, so you would assume there are a few home comforts for him.
Yeah, and I think some fans and Lotus fans say, well, why not put bigger brakes, bigger cooling? But you can't afford to just carry unnecessary weight or drag. You have to push the limits in this business.
It's maybe one of the arguments then, isn't it, for the refueling to come, that they need these bigger brakes. It adds extra weight, but a lighter fuel tank rather offsets it.
Front left brake is still on the warm side, so any more management would be good.
You can differentiate between your front brakes as a driver. You can't, so obviously you'll just have to manage them both down. I can't see any way you could side to side, front to rear, easy peasy, side to side, don't know what you'd do.
Are there any settings on the steering wheel that you can use to change it?
No, I think basically your brakes are a little bit too hot.
Danny Kvyat, who's been rather given the come on, the hurry up by the Red Bull bosses in the last couple of weeks. Doing a very sensible job at the moment, running in 4th place. 4th ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo. And we're on lap 10 of 78 here. So Ted Kravitz looking at possible strategy outcomes. What do you surmise so far?
Well, this is no taking it easy, saving your tyres run by Lewis Hamilton, is it? That we've seen in the past. And that's because he's getting a gap. He's just establishing a gap now. This is all time that he will need. I think what he's got to watch out for when he makes his first stop is where Kimi Raikkonen is. Don't you, Crofty? Because if he comes in well clear of Kimi Raikkonen, that's good. Of course, the Red Bulls will be an issue, but Raikkonen's, 12 seconds behind at the moment. So that's bang on course to stay well ahead of the rear gunner Ferrari, if you like. So that doesn't upset his day. But really, he'll be looking... It's 19 seconds, the gap you need to make your tyre stop and then get out on track. So he's going well so far. Strategy working well for Lewis so far. We're looking, he could even extend it to the sort of 30s, mid-30s.
Well, I was told just the other day here in Monaco, when you've got the gap and you can come out ahead of your rivals here, you take the gap as soon as you possibly can, assuming that you can then get to the end of the race on those tyres. You don't want to take too many unnecessary risks here.
I think the two at the front are trying to save their tyres a little bit at the moment, because we've got Toro Rosso lapping very similar times to the leaders, and they're all doing roughly, with each one of those with the confidence and grip at the moment, mid 1 minute 20s.
How was the balance, Danny?
Oh, okay, so far a little bit terrible over here.
You see a shot there of Jenson Button ahead of Fernando Alonso. We're on board with Fernando Alonso at the moment, running the soft compound tyres, running in 10th place. His teammate Jenson Button running in 9th place. Both McLarens in the points. Haven't scored any yet this season.
But if he had to stop 5 seconds longer, right now that would move him 2 or 3 places back. So that 5 seconds could hurt Alonso later on. I mean, he was brutal on the first lap, got him up the field. He also got him a penalty, and we've only seen that incident once, but it looked fair enough, the penalty.
Yeah, he came through on the inside, and as a result of which Nico Hülkenberg went squirreling off to the left, hit the arm coat, and a very difficult manoeuvre, broke his front wing in the contact, and almost didn't make it back to the pits. Kind of got the front wing lodged a bit under his tyres,
and that squabble between Hülkenberg and Alonso was to be the best of those who started on the yellow soft compound tyres.
Hülkenberg running second last at the moment, ahead of Felipe Massa, who's been lapped, but obviously switched his tyres onto the super soft compound when he made that pit stop. I wonder how long those super soft tyres can last for him. Already a few marbles beginning to build up off the racing line as Lewis Hamilton goes through the swimming pool chicane, past our commentary box again, and down to Raskas for yet another time.
So if there's no safety car, they need to get these tyres into the 30s in terms of laps somehow.
Yeah, the pit lane window kind of opens low 20s up to mid 30s. It's whenever you can get that gap within that particular window, you'll take it. Actually, it does look fairly pedestrian, doesn't it, by Rosberg going through the swimming pool chicane, certainly compared to qualifying yesterday. And Sebastian Vettel is hanging on to the back of Rosberg here. The Mercedes driver's not moving away, not really pulling away in the last few laps.
What's going to happen now is when they get somewhere near their pit stop window, and they're going to unleash. They've got to save some grip. They've got to unleash it then. Pretty strategic. There's no point in burning your tyres up, building a 20-second lead. It was not helpful to you later on in the race when they hand out the prizes.
Now, Carlos Sainz has come in to stop here for a change of tyres. He's going onto the soft compound tyre. Obviously, with the track temperature now 40 degrees, it's going to take less time to warm up and bring those tyres into temperature. And Toro Rosso think that actually he can make up quite a bit of ground by putting on the soft now. Whether he can get to the end of the race on that, I'm not quite sure, but he can certainly start to make inroads because there's a nice gap there for him as he comes back out just behind the Manners.
A little bit left down here, guys.
Yeah, copy that, Marcus. We're assessing the situation. We currently have traffic around the rear ghost.
So 4.2 seconds covers the top three now. They're beginning to come back together. They're going through an unusual phase of the race, as I explained, but I wonder if Lewis will choose to respond to this. He hasn't, certainly in the first sector or two.
This is Hamilton dictating the pace, as he has the right to do as leader of the race. This is Rosberg trying not to run too close to him, I think, Martin. This is Sebastian Vettel gaining, and it's starting to look rather reminiscent of China, where Rosberg got it all in the tiz about that, but in conditions that were a little bit different to Monaco, and of course on a track where you were going to start to be mindful of the undercut and how it could affect you.
Verstappen really catching Perez.
What can I do to save these brakes? I'm having to drive so slow right now.
So Lewis, it looks like we're very safe on rear temp. If the balance can handle it, a little bit more rearward on B-bal would help.
Brake balance, B-bal.
I wonder if these increased conditions in terms of the ambience and the track temperature today are just starting to affect their calculations a bit. Whether the teams thought the clouds might be coming in just a touch before qualifying yesterday and set the cars up for something a little cooler today.
He's not lapping that quickly. He's not in traffic, getting the hot air boiling off the car in front. So what he can do is put some of the bias towards the rear brakes, let them work a little bit harder, and save the front. Ted's got news on that.
To have a brake problem so early in the race, I don't know, I'm just slightly worried in my waters, Martin. Lewis said that he'd worked actually on the brakes and protecting the car on the brakes. That's one of the areas where he's been gaining time. I think that early section when he was going so well might have put a bit more stress in it. Well, let's keep across it. As Mercedes say, they're okay, the temperatures are okay at the moment. So we've got Sainz gone to a two-stop. Now Bottas has made a pit stop as well, and that's Ericsson in front of me in the Sauber. So they're trying something different, a two-stop perhaps, try to get them up the field.
Yeah, let's not forget they've got 100 kilograms of fuel on board as well at the start of the race, which they'll... well, they wouldn't put quite that much in for Monaco, would they? But certainly the equivalent of a very heavy passenger in the car that does put extra load on the brakes. But when you start going faster later on, even more load.
He's going straight into chicane. Braking really late and going straight.
Is that Will Stevens, I wonder, that he's talking about?
Be Mary, wouldn't it?
Roberto Mary.
Yeah.
He's actually just got past Mary, which is why I wondered if it was Stevens or not. He's actually ahead of Roberto Mary now is Nico Hulkenberg. That message just a little bit delayed. Just into Sander Vos, I think, was where Nico Hulkenberg made the pass on Roberto Mary, or Fun Bobby, as I think he should be known. on board then with Sebastian Vettel. Lewis Hamilton did respond on that last lap. He put in the best first sector, but he didn't really open up the gap much. 2.5 seconds to Rosberg.
Jensen Button with a good pace as well down there in 9th. Verstappen catching Perez pretty quickly as well. It's unusual, but I think they're all going to start to close back up again in the pack.
Normally you get that with a safety car here. So far, no safety car here at Monaco this afternoon. As we see Carlos Sainz into the chicane on a brand new fresh set of tyres, and that is where you saw going straight on Roberto Merri with Nico Hülkenberg right behind him. Hamilton the leader then, 2.7 seconds the gap now to Rosberg, 1.3 seconds back to Sebastian Vettel. Danny Kvyat another 5 seconds down the road and comfortably ahead of his teammate Daniel Ricciardo.
And what they've just realised, the whole pit walls realised that Carlos Sainz, back in 15 maybe, but he went out on a new set of the yellow mark prime tyres as they call them, soft compound, and switched them on immediately with this track temperature. That's fascinating information for the rest of the field. Those tyres are now working, which they didn't in qualifying and free practice. Ted?
So Lewis is managing his brake issue, is now affecting his strategy. There's been a message from his engineer saying that all is okay, but you're not making the gap to Vettel as quickly as we want you to. So it's now Vettel they have to try and get that 20-second gap to. And the longer he doesn't get that gap to Vettel, the more degraded his tyres will get and the slower he'll go. So it'll be a bit of a vicious cycle. Let's see if Hamilton can pick up the pace.
It's less critical following another car around here in terms of you haven't got those high-speed corners where you're really relying heavily on the aerodynamic performance of your car. It's all about turn in and traction. The slower corners, of course, average speed around here. Even the hottest qualifying lap was just 99 miles per hour, 160 kilometers per hour for those that listen to us around other parts of the world. So it's not quite so critical to follow others. It's so difficult.
Hamilton just responded, Martin, with the fastest lap of the race while we look at the battle for 11th and 12th here at Nasser and Grosjean. Grosjean now pits. I wonder if Lotus are trying the undercut with Grosjean on Nasser, and I wonder, is Hamilton or Rosberg certainly a little bit vulnerable to the undercut now from Sebastian Vettel in these temperatures? Would it work?
Well, it's turned around, hasn't it? We were talking about the overcut or the overlap in terms of staying out longer, but that looks like that's off. It's changed, and their learning is, slightly faster than we're learning, basically, on what's going on. Tail end wagging like a very happy puppy dog there as he leaves the pit lane and lights up his rear tyres with so much torque under his right foot.
Battle for second is now coming up to the battle at the back between Stevens and Merri. And the blue flag's being waved as Merri gets out of the way for Nico Rosberg. But Sebastian Vettel is going to have to try and get past Merri as they make the rise up Beau Rivage here. He doesn't want to get stuck behind for too long.
And Merri doesn't really want to go out on too many of the marbles. This is the problem when you're at the back. Not only are you in a slow car, you just lose chunks of time getting out of the way. Then your tyres are full of debris.
How are the tyres, Kimmy? How are the tyres?
Yeah, tyres are okay apart from that issue, but I just told you. There's no point to go closer to the car in front.
Yeah, what is that issue then that he told about?
I think he just means I don't want to, I'm just holding station, not enjoying this phase of the Grand Prix.
No, he wants to get out and attack. And Sebastian Vettel now finds himself right behind Nico Rosberg. And, just looking here, we saw Romain Grosjean try the undercut on Felipe Nasser, and he is very, very close to Nasser still on the track. That hasn't quite worked for him. The Sauber has still stayed ahead in 11th place to Grosjean's 12th. While we watched this particular battle, the undercut didn't quite come off for Grosjean with that early pit stop. Of course, Nasser has got to stop himself.
Okay, we're into lap We're on the 21st lap now, 20th actually.